guys, what is happening? Welcome to Saturday morning G&T. Krish, what do you need after a G&T?
I'll play along. We need a P!
Lovely. Turk, how you doing, mate? You good?
Yes, mate. Yes, very good, mate. Very good. Thank you very much. It's a nice, bright day. Everything's good.
What? Can I ask you a serious question, mate?
Go on, mate.
Do you know the words to any songs apart from Special MC?
No.
No. This is the one. I'm gonna have a little background for it. You ready? I guess I saw.
No, mate. I actually don't know any words to like the full songs.
Do you know what I've heard as well?
I just don't know the words. Go on.
The words were on the screen in front of you and you still couldn't sing them.
Oh, probably, yeah. I'm quite curious. I want that beard back.
What's that, mate?
I said I want that beard back. It looked like a strong beard. That looked good.
Yeah, no, I want to go back to an office, but yeah. No, it's great. Lovely. Well done, mate. Well done. Good sport.
Thanks,
this week, we have great guest, Thomas Grønnemark. We have amazing review on the North London derby, which I'm absolutely dreading. Going back to Thomas, Thomas is former coach at Liverpool, former coach at RB Leipzig, former Ajax coach. He's specialist in throw-ins. We have some terrific insight in regards to a lot of the Liverpool players, what the benefits are of throw-in coaching. Really good interview. Pre, you looking forward to it, mate?
Mate, what a great guest to have onto the show and talk us through, at the top level, the little minute things that football clubs have to do to get the edge to be better. And I'm really looking forward to this chat, mate, because throw-ins is something that we don't think, or I don't know, I personally or people within the sport, let alone fans outside, think so much count on throw-ins. I've got some of my football coaches that tell my players off when they say, what are you? Like, are you a goalkeeper? Why are you even touching the ball with your hands? But evidently, what we're going to hear from Thomas later on is it's really important to be good with your hands as well. Yeah.
No, he's a fascinating guy. He's over in Denmark at the minute. He's top man. Spoke to him earlier, so he's buzzing for and looking forward to coming on the show. But before we do, Jamie O'Hara, Jeremy Lynch have recently been uploading a few videos. Tell us a bit about these videos, mate.
Yeah, they've both kind of done a little challenge. Jamie with his daughter, Jeremy with his sister, and the whole idea was our blokes just as good as women when coming to kind of core balance. And Jeremy actually struggled against his sister first time. So did Jamie O'Hara, to be honest with you, against his daughter. So we thought that we would give it a little go and see how we get on. Wasn't easy, was it, chaps?
No, with varying results. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Okay, so like that. So how was it? Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. One more go. Okay. No, don't worry. We can do it again. Okay. Well, let's pull that down. Okay, here we go. Like that. Like that. One hand there. And it's impossible. I can't do it. I did it like that. That's the best you're getting.
Bye.
Brilliant.
I tell you what. Afterwards, what you haven't seen there is Prius blamed it on the Turkish lunch that he had, and he overindulged him. But yeah, I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. My daughter had to go as well.
We're going to get another video up in a couple of weeks, and you'll see me do that now. I should have practiced before I gave it a go, mate. That was the first ever time I tried it. It was terrible.
Might go with my daughter.
Right, so Jamie, do you know what you got to do?
No.
Right, so you got on your knees, got to put arm down, then you've got to put one behind your back. Oh, I feel myself going to fall. And then the other one behind your back.
Mate, she loves it. Anytime I hurt myself, anytime, she absolutely loves it. Turk, you seem to have about 3 or 4 goes, mate. You seem to have about 3 or 4 goes.
I had to, mate.
I'm not going to play the one you did it.
Ah, what?
Copy what I can do. Let's see if I can do it as well. Okay, so arm down like this, up like this, and then hand behind your back. You alright?
The girls just look at us like, what mug?
One thing I've got to say,
they don't realise how much effort.
I don't quite understand why it's men that can't do it. It's not just kids. It's not kids that can do it. It's females. But I don't quite get why men can't do it. No, it's all the brain. It's the brain power.
But look, let's face it. Jeremy is one of the fittest kind of strongest guys I know. So for him to be able to not do it does say something. So yeah, just keep practicing, gents.
Yeah, or don't if you don't want to smash your face up. But yeah, all good, guys. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring on today's special guest. As I say, he is a Guinness World Record former holder. He's now been beat recently, I think. He is a coach at Liverpool. He's a freelance throwing coach, former RB Leipzig, former Ajax. Thomas Grønnemark. Well done, Thomas.
Thomas.
As mentioned, we're delighted to have you here today with us, Thomas. How have you been?
Yeah, it's pretty fine. Yeah, of course, it's a special period now with the Corona challenge, but yeah, I'm pretty fine. Yeah.
Good. Have you been affected by Corona and the COVID scenario? Has it been? Whereabouts are you based at the minute?
Yeah, I'm based in Denmark, and I will say that the biggest challenge is actually UK, because I haven't really been able to travel into UK for a long time. But I'm traveling to other countries where they're open. So I'm a freelance throwing coach, so it's all about finding the right clubs in the right places. So I'm still traveling, but I'm also doing a lot of throwing analysis online, so I can also work from home.
Oh, nice. So they've been sending you clips, and then you analyse the clips and sort of make pointers on bits and pieces need to be tweaked on, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the way it is. I'm receiving the attacking, defending throw-ins, and then I'm making analysis regarding the possession, chances created, and so yeah, that's the way I do it.
Amazing. Well, it's a very niche.
I'd love to see your living room if you're chucking the ball across the room at home.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very niche style of coaching, Thomas. How did you get into that? Because it is very sort of specific and isolated into one section of it. Was it something that you grew up with a passion for, or did it develop?
Yeah, I grew up already as a kid. I saw my big cousins, Ben and Johnny. They could do long throw-ins, so I was really fascinated. And I became a really good thrower myself as a teenage player. And I also played on a decent level, the highest U19 league in Denmark. Played against great players like, for example, Thomas Grønnemark, who later played for Celtic and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But after that, I knew I couldn't be a professional football player. So I changed sport in the mid-90s to athletics and was on the Danish national team there as a sprinter there, running 100, 200, 400 meters for 6 years. And after that, I changed to the Danish bobsleigh national team there and was, traveling all around the world with the bobsleigh team from 2002 to 2006. And it was in the middle of that bobsleigh period in 2004 where I thought, hey, if I can make a good throw-in, can't I teach other players to do it? So I used approximately 6 months to do that throwing course. And already in the fall 2004, I got my first professional team here in Denmark called Viborg. And yeah, since then I've been a professional throwing coach.
I don't know of anybody who's actually trained or played with Thomas Grønnemark that doesn't have a story about Thomas Grønnemark. He's well known for sort of banter, pranks, and all sorts. Have you got any insider information on Thomas?
No, I'll just say the only thing that a lot of people don't know right now, you can see him as he's a strong guy, a tough fellow, also friendly, and he's bald now. But when he was a kid, he had like this long blonde hair. So you can't really imagine him now with long blonde hair. So like to his shoulders or so. So, but I think he's a good guy. We're proud of him in Denmark. So yeah.
Yeah, he had an amazing career, didn't he? He's out in Las Vegas with his missus now, isn't he?
I think so.
He's been living out in Vegas now, like doing a bit of the professional gambling and living his best life. He's really
Thomas, can you just give us a little bit of an insight into once you get invited to kind of join a club to work in techniques, what are the kind of processes to make sure that you kind of get your point across into the technique, and do the players take it on board immediately? Because when we're playing any level, the simple thing that we always got taught was hand behind your back, make sure your feet don't cross the line, etc. The game has changed so much, but how does it work when you come into club and showing them the technique to get faster, quicker, longer throws?
Yeah, first of all, I think it was your second question. I think the players are really motivated. When Jürgen Klopp called me back in July 2018, the team had just been placed number 4 in the Premier League and also gone to the Champions League final, but lost to Real Madrid. And of course, if you miss that little step and someone says, hey, throw-ins are a really big weakness, perhaps this guy can help you, of course you're motivated. So I only feel motivation from the players and the staff wherever I come. And then back to what do I do? I'm coaching after what I call the long, the fast, and the clever throw-in philosophy. And all in all, you can say that it's the main thing is creating space when you have a throw-in all around the pitch, so you can keep possession, create chances to score goals after throw-ins. What I do in my very first visit is what I call an inspirational visit, is work with letting the players throw longer. But the most important thing is that the players are getting the feeling of creating space, because football players are really bad at that with throw-ins all around the pitch. When I'm having my next visits, I'm learning them like the general throw-in tools where the players can create space. And I'm also working with individual throw-in superpowers. Special players have, or different players have special throw-in abilities you can use. And then on top of that, I'm working with 3 different zones, and I'm having around 50 different throw-in tools around the pitch. And on top of that, again, the players are also using their own fantasy and creativity. So in theory, my teams have millions of options. So it's not like a playbook in American football. Of course, this takes like months. You can't go from number 18 in the Premier League, like Liverpool were, to number 1 in the Premier League in 2 sessions. But it's a process. So yeah, to say very shortly, that's like the process.
Okay, and going on that, so when you're sitting at home watching football and you're seeing these guys in the Premier League or any other top league around Europe, and you see them do a foul throw, and sometimes in games you see one player maybe do 2 or 3 foul throws. the same player. Like, what happens? How do you feel? Do you feel that you want to get in contact with him, or what are your feelings when you see something like that? Because as a fan, or as somebody watching from in the public, or that's one of the most frustrating things.
Yeah, I'll say first of all, I don't think it means so much that the players are doing foul throw-ins, because first of all, it's really easy to regulate and improve so you don't do that. I think as a fan, you should be much more worried if your team is losing possession a lot after your throw-ins all around the pitch, because that's what really happens. The funny thing is that neither commentators or pundits are really saying anything about that in a match, but most teams have possession under 50% of the occasions when they have a throw-in under pressure. So that's much more a thing you should be concerned about as a fan. So that's my main focus when I come to the club. So if you look at a guy like Bellerin from Arsenal, of course he's been doing his fall throw-ins this season, but it's just so easy to regulate. So, but for me, it's not a small. It's a small thing around the throw-ins. So
that's a really interesting insight to actually see about how many times position is won or lost after the throw-in's made, rather than the one-off foul throw that happens in a match. And again, another question that comes to mind is, in England, I'm sure there was other people, but it really became famed part of the Stoke team when you had a guy called Rory Delap, who really brought it to the front of people's minds about the long throws. Stoke, going there. What do you think of Rory Delap and his long throws?
Yeah, I just think he was fantastic, and some people might think that that's too much, but for me it's fine, because it's only perhaps 5 or 10% of all teams who can utilize a playing style or a throw-in playing style like this. The reason why Stoke could do it was because Rory Delap had a world-class throw-in, but Stoke also had, I think it was like 8 players in the start 11 who were 1.90 m or above. So that is really crazy. Yeah, and I've had teams like, for example, in FC Midtjylland in Denmark, we scored 35 goals over 4 seasons, so approximately 9 per season after long throw-ins in a period. Also had a team called AC Horsens who scored 10 goals, over a season on long throw-ins. So, but it's only a few teams who can utilize that. Most of my teams, they are only taking a few long throw-ins or no one at all. For example, in Liverpool, we don't take any long throw-ins towards the opponent's goal. In Ajax, when I was there, we didn't take any long throw-ins because it was not their playing style. But again, I love Stoke because the teams shouldn't play the same way, because then it would be boring. So if we can see like a clash of two different playing styles, I think it makes the football more entertaining. So yes, I think that Rory Delap and Stoke at that time were fantastic.
Can't hear you, Glenn, mate.
Glenn.
There we go. I did a bit of research into you, Thomas, prior to the interview, and I noticed that there was a social media element that you utilised to potentially get your leg up early doors, which was via Twitter. Can you tell us a bit about that, Thomas?
Yeah, I should have that again. If I use social media, I did not really understand the question.
Yeah, it was early doors in your career with social media. You tweeted and utilised that to get a leg up in potentially joining Liverpool and sort of moving your career forward. Can you just tell us about how you utilised that and what the sort of offshots were from tweeting?
Yeah, I think the one you're referring to is perhaps the tweet from Andreas Paulsen, where he was sold to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and I've worked with him, and he had improved his throw-in with 14 meters, and so I just tweeted in June 2018 that I was proud of him, and then there was a local journalist from the Borussia Mönchengladbach area who contacted me for a short article, and after that article there was a journalist from the German newspaper Bild who called me, and they want to make an article too, and the German newspaper Bild is read by millions of Germans every day, so I think that it was that specific article that Jürgen Klopp read, but also Ralf Rangnick from RB Leipzig, and they both called me in early July. So sometimes a short tweet can make a big difference for you. So I think that was like the tweet who started my international breakthrough. So yeah, sometimes small things can make big things happen.
And I'm sure, like after having that sort of coverage in the media and let the public know, and obviously all the clubs watching, and where football is such high stakes and it's at the highest ever level, it's about every minuscule sort of advantage that you can get. That this actually becomes a really big thing. Like you would think, oh, why do you need a throwing coach? But every single thing at a professional club at that level, the detail is incredible, isn't it, Thomas? And you can maybe give us some sort of insight how it is in being part of the coaching staff at a club like that.
Yeah, first of all, I'll say that one thing that really has changed is the approach to throw-ins, because in the start, when I got my international breakthrough, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's marginal gains, it's small gains, but actually it's gigantic gains, because there are normally between 40 and 60 throw-ins in a match, and you're also normally using approximately 15 to 20 minutes in a match on throw-ins and the throw-in related situations regarding the movements around the throw-ins. So people are now seeing that it's not a small thing. It's only because the football culture has, like, for 140 years ignored throw-ins like it didn't mean anything. But it changes matches. And again, back to the second part of your question. It's really fantastic to be a part of the big clubs around the world. Like, again, Liverpool FC. I've been there for 3 seasons now. Ajax, RB Leipzig. I've been coaching in MLS, Ghent, in Belgium, several other clubs too around the world, also France, Denmark. And fantastic thing is to be a part of these cultures, because I really get a good insight into the training cultures, the different people, fantastic coaches, managers. So all in all, I just love my job, and combined with the traveling all around the world, I just love it.
Yeah, no, that sounds like an amazing journey. Is it normally the manager that brings yourself into the club, or would it be someone like a sport director or the chairman or somebody else? Normally, how does your invitation come to, in the past, so many great clubs, esteemed clubs you've mentioned there. So how do you normally get invited to this sort of role?
I'll say most of the time it's the either manager or head coach who invites me. It could also be the assistant coach who takes all the set pieces and so. So I'll say that perhaps 90% of the time it's them. But I've also seen that, for example, the president of the whole club or the owner really wants to improve the whole training culture, and then he is the front man in getting me into the club. Sometimes it can also be like the analysis man, the analysis responsible person who is saying, hey, we are just lacking knowledge and drills around the throw-ins. Couldn't we get this guy in? So yes, it can be a lot of different people, but most of the time it's the manager or head coach.
Thomas, I've got a quick question for you, actually from a listener viewer, Lee Groden, who is actually a LFC fan. He asked a very good question. He says, is there any other sports other than football that have taken something from what you've implemented into their methods? Or is it just football that have taken that on? Or is there any other ball sports, etc., that have taken your methods on?
I'll say that until now it's only been football, but I had a visit to one of my clubs there, where they also had a local rugby club who was on international level, and they were interested too to bringing my knowledge. I'm working on to bringing my knowledge in, for example, basketball. Also have been in communication with a club in the States too. professional club there. So a lot of my knowledge, you can use that in other sports too. But I'll say at the moment I'm concentrating on football. So let's see what that brings.
And have you found, Thomas, after
Thank you.
you've been an innovator in this space, and you're the number one man, but have you found that after you started and the sort of success you've had, that there's other people trying to jump on that bandwagon and trying to emulate what you've done and bring that to the forefront? And
yeah, there's a lot of people writing to me. I want to be a throwing coach like you. Can't you tell me all your secrets so I can get the same experience like you traveling to the big clubs? And at the moment, I'm just saying, hey, you have to figure that out yourself. I've been using 17 years now, working on throw-ins every day. So of course, I'm not giving away my secrets right now. Of course, there's a lot of people also, like again the assistant coaches, so who are getting some inspiration from me and so on. And then I think that's fine. But until I'm publishing my book about throw-ins and courses and so once upon a time in the future, I'll keep my secrets for myself, because to be honest, I'm living a good life right now. So yeah.
Yeah, Thomas is keeping his methodology to himself.
Yeah, Thomas.
Can we expect? Good.
Can you take any praise for the Trent Alexander-Arnold corner with in the Barcelona game for the quick thinking there? I know it was a corner, but is that something you try to make or incentivize your players to do? Is the quick thinking style?
I'll just say that in general, I won't take any praise for Trent's corner. It was him being brilliant at that moment. But I'll say in general, of course, I'm in every club I'm in. I'm working with the ball boys and the ball girls regarding fast throw-ins. Of course, we're not really using them right now because of the Corona situation. But normally, you can really utilize the ball boys and the ball girls. And in this exact situation with Trent in the corner, the ball boy was really quick and delivered the ball fast. So that was like really also gave a good situation for Trent. So again, I won't take any praise around Trent's situation, but of course the ball boy was really fast there, and that was a part of a bigger strategy.
So that must have really filled your heart with joy.
You work alongside them with the ball boys and the ball girls. Is that something that you speak to them before the games, or do you know who they are, or what's the scenario around that?
No, I'm not speaking to them, but of course I've been like telling the staff in Liverpool FC that it's really important that before every game that there is some responsible person who are talking with the ball boys and ball girls, because it's a really important element in using the fast throw-ins. So I'm not doing it myself, but of course I'm telling the whole club to do it.
Yeah. Glenn, what I was going to mention, mate, was it must have filled Thomas's heart with joy when he saw that young man, the young boy at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Champions League last year, when he gave the ball to, I can't remember who it was, but, it was a fast throw-in and it led to the goal, and Jose Mourinho really, praised him. They called him into the training ground the next day. He gave him a hug on the touchline. This was pre-COVID, so all the fans were going crazy with it. Do you remember that incident against Olympiacos, Tottenham versus Olympiacos, Thomas?
Yeah, I remember that, and I think it was fantastic, and I don't mind cheering or praising other teams, because I just love seeing that people can help each other, and it doesn't matter if it's a ball boy, a ball girl, a security guard, or someone from the audience who are taking a fast throw-in into a player who can take it from there. I just love when people help each other and don't care what color shirt you're wearing. So I think that was a really good moment, of course, for Tottenham, for Spurs, but also think it was a good moment for humanity, because no matter who we are, where we come from, if we can help each other, it's just fantastic. So a lovely situation there.
Yeah, it also worked the opposite way on Thursday night with Tottenham versus Dinamo Zagreb, where there was no ball boys and like headless chickens trying to find the balls. and there's not much time left in the game, and it's those seconds that are counting down. Is there ever a time that you coach the opposite with slow throw-ins and slow sort of tactics? Is there anything you look at like that?
Do you mean with the ball boys or just
a bit of both, sort of tactical delays, tactical time wasting? Is there any tactics like that you look at?
No, not at all, because I say, if you're a ball boy under normal circumstances and the opponents want to have the ball fast, of course, give it fast. I'm not a guy who's saying, hold on the ball longer or put it down on the ground so it's hard to get. No, I think you have to make fair play for everyone, And then if you're looking at the tactics, you don't necessarily have to throw the ball fast, because one of the worst things is to throw the ball fast into a pressure zone. So in general, you can say, get the ball fast, look at the situation. If there's a good, fast, unpressured option, take it. But if there's not, then you have to have patience. And you can have patience for 10, 12, or 15 seconds waiting for that right space creation. So all in all, I'm going after fair play, and sometimes you have to wait for the best option.
Yeah.
That's admirable. That's admirable for sure.
Glenn, do you remember when we had one Eden Hazard having to kick the ball out of the ball boy's hand? Was it a ball boy or something? And he actually got done for.
Yeah, it was up at Bolton, wasn't it? And he ended up he ended up kicking the ball boy to get the ball, because the ball boy was hanging on to it. Part of the tactics to slow the game down. Actually, it was Swansea. It was Swansea. That young kid's about 17, 18 now, and he's worth a few million quid apparently.
Really?
Yeah. But if you ask me, of course, some fans from the ball boys team were perhaps praising him, but I just think it's a sad situation, because we don't want to put either any of the teams or the ball boys or ball girls in this situation. So for me, if you ask me, just give the players that ball, no matter if it's the home team or the opponents, and because I just think it's a sad situation. So So I'm more into fair play. So yeah.
Can we touch upon something that isn't a sad situation? Jurgen Klopp. Well, it might be at the moment with the run of results, but the results that man has been getting from that Liverpool team since he's been there. How did you find working with Jurgen, and what's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, first of all, I really love to work in Liverpool FC. I'm a freelance throwing coach, so you never know where I'll work in the next season. So, but until now, I've been working 3 seasons with Jurgen Klopp, and he's a fantastic man. Of course, anyone perhaps can see that he's a really competent manager, really good, one of the best managers, coaches in the world. He's also, I think most people know that, a funny guy, a lot of good, energy. But what most people don't know that Jurgen Klopp is also a really good listener. So it's not about he has to tell what he thinks all the time. So that's also one of the reasons why he brought me in, because I've been getting a free role in Liverpool FC. I can do anything I want with the throw-ins. And it's also taken Liverpool from number 18 to number 1 in the Premier League on throw-ins under pressure. Last season, we scored 14 goals after throw-in situations. So a lot of leaders, not only in football, but also in the world in general, in companies, can learn from Jurgen Klopp. Because if you're giving free roles to your employees, if you're listening, if you're making a culture where people are sharing knowledge and giving value to each other, it means that you have a much stronger culture and a much stronger team and club. So all in all, I have only praise for Jurgen Klopp and his leadership, and I love to work together with him.
Yeah. What do you think makes him stand out as one of the best? Is it his drive, his hunger, or do you think it's that personal relationship he has with his players that gets the best out of them? How do you think he's different to other managers?
Oh, I think it's the combination of almost everything. I think of course, you can't compare people, but I try to do a little bit the same myself. Really try to connect with people, share knowledge, help people, be kind. And so I think it's a combination of everything. And of course, then you have to be ambitious. You want to win. When I'm coming to clubs, I'm not going only after improving the throw-ins. I want to be a part of teams who are winning titles, having great wrestles, and so you have to combine the human part, the knowledge part, also with great ambition. So I think Jürgen Klopp have everything a fantastic manager should have to be one of the world best. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
amazing.
you can see how good his man management is. Even when he's taking players off and substituting them, the relationship that he's got with the whole squad. What it just hasn't worked for them this year. I think there's a number of factors. I don't think it's one particular factor. I mean, it could be that you're not there anymore doing the throw-ins. But what would you say has been the main kind of factors as to why Liverpool are now just outside those European positions and not top of the league, running away with it like they was last year?
Of course, it's always difficult to judge your own team, and I won't really go really far into it. But I think all can see that if you're having 3, 4 your main central defenders injured, then you're putting some of your best midfielders in there. They are also injured, so you're having challenges with both the whole defense and the structure there, but also miss a lot of things in the midfield too. So all this what can you say, unsecureness that gives in the whole team, it affects a lot of things. So I think we started really, really strongly the first like third of the season, and I think we were like number 1 in December or so. So it was actually good, and we also won a Champions League group. But we just been having like 2 months with like crazy results. I think it looks a little bit like we are a little bit, not totally, but back on the track. We've been fantastic in the Champions League. Not many teams can beat the RB Leipzig 2 times 2-0. So even though it looks like a crazy season, we're still in the game there. Of course, everybody can see that the Premier League title is gone now, but let's see what happens. So and of course, I hope to come back to UK, either to Liverpool or another club soon, because that's also been hard for me, not being able to or allowed to travel into UK. So but let's see what happens here the last couple of months of the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a whirlwind for Liverpool, and you can't begrudge them a couple of bad results because they've been so good over the past 3 years. Is there someone at Liverpool when you're there that stands out head and shoulders above the rest as like the leader in the dressing room, i.e., sort of captain, club captain? Is it standardly Henderson, or is there someone that you'd be surprised that really sort of galvanizes and leads those players?
I won't really pick anyone individually. I'll more like look at the culture, and I'll say it's perhaps the place I've been ever in my life, not only in football but also workplace, where people are laughing the most and having the most fun. So in Liverpool, I feel the culture is like, of course, 100% high performance, but the combination of people just are feeling well, having a really good time is fantastic. So I think it's more like the culture in Liverpool FC that's the star or the main reason why people are feeling well there. So yes, there's a fantastic culture there.
I've got a question for you. When you're at the club, were you actually on the bench with them during match days? Were you actually at every game, every home and an away game with them when you were at the club, or was your job mainly just at the training ground?
No, it's mainly at the training ground. I've been to Anfield several times, but normally I'm at the stands. So
okay.
But it's also because I'm a freelance throwing coach, and the last 3 seasons I've been having like around 8 different professional teams all around the world. So it's not only Liverpool FC, it's many different teams. So
yeah, of course.
So
the reason I asked that question is because I think some clubs and some managers benefit from this sort of, well, no club benefits from no fans being at the stadium, but some playing styles of certain managers, etc., would be more acceptable when there's no fans in there, and it can work well. Whereas a club like Liverpool, where they have no fans at Anfield, I'm sure it's worked to their detriment, and them losing their home record that they had incredible, like for 55 or 60 games or whatever it was, and then from not losing for 60 games or whatever the number was to actually losing 6 home games on the trot, so that must have to do with fans not being there as well.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but of course the fans, they are really fantastic normally at Anfield, a really great addition to the team itself, of course. And then I also think, of course, I won't really go deep into this too, but it's probably also a mental thing, because when you're having, like, I don't know if it was 65 games unbeaten or so at Anfield in the Premier League or so, of course then you feel invincible. No one can beat you, and so I think no matter what record is broken, it will have in the short term a mental effect there. But of course it would be great not only to have audience back, spectators, fans back again on the stadium, but also get back and try to make a new home record.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Thomas, in terms of, you mentioned the online courses and whatnot, can you give us some information in regards to how, if people want to contact you in regards to possible courses that you do, how will we get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm easy to find. Yeah, I have a homepage called thomasgrønnemark.com. I also have some free drills there for coaches already. Over 4,000 coaches all around the world has picked my free drills up. So you can find that on my homepage. You can also find me on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. Facebook, and people can just write to me. I'm also writing on a book about throwing, so already written approximately 100,000 words. But I don't know when that will be published. Perhaps in a year or perhaps in 3 years. I don't know yet. But when that is published, my book, then I'll also do online courses and so, because there are just so many coaches out there, amateur coaches, youth coaches from all around the world, who are writing to me every day. But right now I can't really share so much of my knowledge. So I look forward to the day where I decide to publish my book.
Amazing. Well, let's have you back on, Thomas. Hopefully, when you get your book out, and we'll have a read of it, and we'll go through that. Much appreciated, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. It looks like Turk. Have you got a?
I just had one. I just had just 2 very quick questions, Thomas. With a big international tournament coming up, just wondered what your thoughts were, or if you could tell us a little bit more about your knowledge of maybe the Denmark team, and if there's anyone in particular that we need to look out for in that tournament. And my second part of the question is, as a West Ham fan, we've just signed a very young, promising Danish defender called Fredrik Alves. I just wondered if you knew anything about him. He seems to be doing very well in our academy, if you like, at the moment, but he's training with the first team as well. So they look like they could be trying to push him through for next year. Is he someone that you've heard of? Is he got good bit of promise?
Yeah, first of all, I'll go to the Denmark team and the Europeans here. We have a really good team. I think most of our players are playing in either Premier League, Bundesliga, or CAR, or leagues like this, also Ligue 1. Ligue 1, like they say in France. So we had a really long streak of unbeaten games with the national team. Also, like just currently beat England at Wembley 1-0. So I think we have a really good chance at the European Championships here in June and July. And then back to Fredrik Alves. He played like mostly in one of the smaller teams in the best league, and then they went down relegated to the second league. So he's a very young defender, and of course you never know with really young people, because I think he's already good now. But will he be like really top Premier League class, or will he stay the level he is? But an optimistic man. So all in all, I always wishes and want young players to be at their best. So if you ask me, I think Frederick Alves will be really good in the future, and I of course hope he will be.
Thank you for that. And once again, just to echo what Glenn has said as well, and Pri, we really appreciate you spending time and coming on and telling us about yourself and also the techniques that you've implemented. So thank you for that.
You're
Amazing,
absolutely
lovely. You have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much, Thomas. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best. Bye now. Bye-bye. Well, what a guest, guys.
Yes, what a lovely guy. What a lovely guy, and what a great insight into it. I know that he didn't have too much time with us, but I really wanted to kind of home in on his technique. I didn't want him to give away his secrets, but obviously what we saw from his world record break, you're not going to see on the touchlines up and down the country. But I think it's fascinating that how clubs can utilise him to improve that. I mean, the long throw has gone out of our game, I think, a little bit. I don't know why, because it is such a powerful ball. I know myself, when we was under Allardyce, it was a massive thing for us. But yeah, it seems to have kind of maybe fizzled.
Bit like Turk, fizzled out. Yeah. In regards. Yeah, you see the goalkeepers and the passing that the goalkeepers now have to do, and it really, really does make sense, doesn't it? That you wouldn't waste a throw-in with something that you're going to lose possession with if your goalkeepers are being forced to make these passes short and sweet and keeping the possession. But yeah, great insight there. Loved having Thomas on, and yeah, I can't wait to see him back in the Premier League, whether it be with Liverpool or another club that can utilise his talents.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, so onwards and maybe upwards, downwards, sideways. We had a dramatic week last week with the North London derby. It's painful to talk about. It's painful to watch. It's painful to see. There's WhatsApp groups that have been popping off between us all. Pri, what were your thoughts in regards to that, mate? Because I can't really express how disappointed that we all were by that as Tottenham fans.
Mate, I think, just this week in general has been a summary of the football club over the last couple of seasons, from when Pochettino's time came to an end. Even before the Champions League final, there were inklings of this kind of thing happening with the team. I just don't think the squad is where it needs to be at the moment, and it's showing. But just talking individually about the North London derby, the boys didn't want it. You can't understand why, but they didn't want it, mate. Arsenal wanted it a lot more than Tottenham, and you could see that from minute one, from when the game started off to, I think Tottenham's best spell in that game came in the last 10, 15 minutes when they were down to 10 men, mate. So, is it the manager? Is it the players? Or is it just the club? At the moment, there's things that are not right there. There are things that are not right there. And, after seeing Thursday night as well, to lose 3-0 to Dynamo Zagreb, that are a good team, but it just shouldn't happen, mate. It shouldn't happen to a Premier League team. And again, if you listen to Mourinho and Hugo Lloris, the club captain's interviews after the game, they've called it out, mate. They've called it out. They're saying that, if you're not in the starting 11, is it due to, if you're not in the starting 11, you have a job to do, to be professional, to encourage the team to be part of it. And, he just called out a lot of people there. Didn't say any names, but, there's certain people that are just not good enough to be. I think Tottenham have got a great starting 11, but they haven't got the squad, and that's more got to do with the recruitment side of things and replacing the players that have left, going far back as, when you've lost Carl Walker and Kieran Trippier, and even like Danny Rose,
Yeah, you look at Trippier now, and Trippier is essential to that Atletico Madrid team that are romping it in La Liga at the moment. And he was kind of like a joke for the last season at Tottenham. You've got, as you say, Danny Rose, who hasn't even had a look in, and that can't be good having a player there that's been extradited on the training pitch day in, day out with negative emotions. That can't be good for the rest. It ties in quite nicely. We did open it up on socials, and we've got a question from Terence Downs, who is a staunch Arsenal fan. It fills me with dread every time Tottenham lose or embarrass themselves, seeing his name pop up, because I don't stop getting grilled by him. He's put here. Is there anything going to be? Is there going to be any Jose out dialogue? And if not, why not? So, what's your thoughts on that as a West Ham fan? What are your thoughts on that? Because I know my feelings, but do you think it's Jose? Do you think it's a squad? Do you think it's a setup? What do you think there, mate?
It's a good question. It's a tough one because look, Mourinho comes with such a big pedigree and that winning mentality. And let's face it, when Spurs got rid of Poch, right or wrong, they had to bring in that could win titles. And Mourinho can still win a title this season. Let's not forget that. Spurs are in the cup final. However, the last couple of performances for me lie with the manager. I think the players have also got to take a very, very strong stance on this because ultimately there's a very good squad there. That front 4 or 5, with and without Song, who's obviously injured, is enough to give anyone in Europe a scare. If we look at the London derby, I just genuinely believe that Spurs didn't get into the last 20 minutes, as Pre mentioned earlier. You can't have that in a London derby. You've got to be up for it from minute one. I think the problem is that the message that Mourinho tries to get to the players is not getting there, but also they're not used to playing that way. The Spurs that most Spurs fans love to watch, even neutrals love to watch, was that attacking flow of football. Sitting back at Arsenal is not what Spurs fans want. They want them to go for them because Arsenal are vulnerable in that respect. So to answer your question, I do think that the players have got to take responsibility. I've always said that because he picks the team. But last night and on Sunday, there was a lack of leaders out there. There was no communication. And I think it's with team selection, motivation. So I think Mourinho's got a lot to answer for. Mourinho out, I don't know. Look, who's going to come in now and change anything differently? I don't think there's many people around. I don't think Spurs fans necessarily want him out. I just think there's a lot that has changed since the Pochettino era.
There was a few murmurs yesterday, mate, on the Spurs groups. There were like a few people that last night, after Thursday night's result, were saying Jose out. They've had enough. They never wanted him in the first place. But but I think
that's more frustration than anything, mate. I think that's more frustration with the situation. If you look at it logically, if you look at it logically, it's not really his team.
Football fans are not logical, though, are they?
No, and you look at sort of the back 6 or 7. You look at Hugo Lloris. I like Hugo Lloris. He has emotion, aggression when we mess up, but that Hugo Lloris nearly cost or put a shake on France's World Cup final. He made a ricket in that final, and he's not sort of extradited from any pressure. You've got at right back, you've got Serge Aurier, who, as I said to you last night, Pre, is a walking anxiety for me. You've got Matt Doherty, not Gary, Matt Doherty, the other right back, who I think it's that's a dodgy transfer. I cannot see anything other than there's something gone on there because Wolves ended up with Semedo, who I'd rather have all day long than Matt Doherty. Then you got a centre back. You've got Sanchez. Sanchez is now up there with one of the shakiest defenders that are in the Premier League. You got Dyer, who looks like he's running about with bricks in his shoes at the moment. At left back, you got Danny Rose, who you've not seen for years. You got Ben Davies, who is the most boring player I think I've ever seen, and he's not even solid. Then you've got Harry Winks, who looked like he'd come good, but he's not. And he's a sideways player. He's a steady player.
I think, Glenn, I think all Spurs fans, all Spurs fans are hearing your frustration there, and I think you've just alluded to the biggest point there. That back four has changed so many times throughout this season.
Yeah,
the best way there's no solidarity team. The only real players that really pick themselves is probably Holberg, who's not missed a game apart from Thursday night, who I rate very highly, and he has that leadership qualities that we're missing.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kane, Song, Bale, Lucas Moura in that 3 or 4. That Lucas Moura's coming back in more. Lamela, I think he's a walking disaster at times, but then pulls out a Rabona over the weekend and then gets sent off. That back four has changed so many times. He doesn't even know who his favourite one is. What he should have done is pick with a centre-back partnership, pick with a full-back, give them 4 or 5 games in a row, let them make their mistakes, but just let them grow together as a back five. He hasn't done that. Sanchez will make a mistake, in comes Dyer. Dyer will make a mistake, in comes Rondon. There's constantly changes in that back forward. There's no stability across that back line. I think the left back is quality. He is absolutely quality. He can put a ball in from absolutely anywhere. He's absolutely quality, but he's probably better going forward than he is defensively, which is another reason why he's probably been shipped out from Madrid.
What was you going to say, Prue?
No, I was just going to say, in regards to the back four or what Turk's saying, I think over the last few weeks in the Premier League games especially, you've got in terms of the defensive pair, the central defensive pair, it is Toby and Davinson Sanchez. They're the best of a bad bunch at the moment. And, they're the ones that have been getting the game time. Sanchez has played pretty much every game recently, and he hasn't played badly. Whatever Glenn said earlier on, that's his opinion. I don't think he's played as badly.
I think he was very unlucky. I think he was very unlucky with the Arsenal game. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't instill you with confidence, does he? I don't actually think this.
Who else is there, mate?
They signed Joe Rodon, who's a year younger. That's it. He's only a year younger. He's not a young player. He's 23.
Yeah.
He's not this youngster.
But
But Glenn, you said earlier, you mentioned earlier, you went, I don't think this is Mourinho's team. He's had enough transfer windows to get in the players that he's wanted to. He signed Ndombele, who has started to come good, but let's face it, for the first 6 months to 10 months, did he?
Yeah.
He's had 2 transfer
windows. Did Pochettino sign him?
He had 2 transfer windows. One of those was a lockdown transfer window, which we had to take a grant from the government to spend the money. So it's not like he's not had. I don't know. I don't actually think it's Mourinho's fault. This I really, really don't. I mean, he's not. Some of his tactics and whatnot, and taking off Bale.
His tactics are terrible.
60 minutes in the North London derby, Bale, you could see he didn't want to come off as he was coming off, and that's a sign of.
What intensity did he have in that game, though, Glenn? He said it. He said, "I pulled these boys off." He took off Tanguy and he took off Bale. Okay,
but then he didn't learn. He didn't learn from his mistake against West Ham, because again, in the last 20 minutes against West Ham, they were brilliant. But Tottenham fans want to see that over a longer period of time. And I think against Arsenal, again, it was the last 20 minutes when you got 10 men. It's all well and good turning up and beating Burnley, Palace, Fulham. But these are the games that you're expected to win. A London derby, was there enough players in that starting 11 that really knew what a London derby was against Arsenal? And for me, I don't think there was.
No,
I think that was it.
No, I don't think that's fair. I think that he picked the best team for that game against Arsenal. He did pick. There's nobody. The only person that you would have changed from that starting 11 against Arsenal was, you wouldn't have had Matt Doherty starting. You would have had Sergio Aurier starting.
But did he get his tactics right, though, Pre? Did he get his tactics right against Arsenal, who, let's face it, at home have not been great? He wasn't. Tottenham didn't win the first ball. They didn't win the second ball. The game to Arsenal. Arsenal could have been 2 or 3 up in the first half.
Okay, let me give you an example.
One shot.
Let me give you an example that is not in defense of Mourinho, but actually gives you an insight into how the communication is with him and his players. He was saying after that Dynamo Zagreb game at 2-0, next week I'm going to play a strong team because I need to. This game is not over, and it doesn't matter what you want to say in the press. It's not over, and we're going to go there. And his press conference before the game on Wednesday, he said that nope, Kane starts because they must have asked how Kane got injured in the game, in the first game, and then he was a bit of a doubt for the Arsenal game. He did look very sharp there. What happened with Kane on Thursday night? And he said no, he starts because we need him. We need him. Yep. It's a big game, and he's. But then, you can see what you're saying, Turt, because it doesn't matter if he's saying all the right things and he is actually covered these things with the players. But if it's not getting through to the players, obviously, and that's why these things are happening, then you're not going to change 25 players. You're not going to change 15.
No,
players.
and this is why.
And this is the problem. You change one man, which is the manager. I think they'll give him until the end of the season this season. And it'll be reassessed. I don't think it will happen, but if Tottenham get top 4 and he wins the Carabao Cup, give him a new contract, invest in what he wants.
But this is why. This is why I don't think it's Mourinho's fault, mate. This is why I don't think, because what you're saying is exactly right in terms of you had Lloris come out. Lloris turns around and says the manager and the coach told us to go out there, finish it off early with a goal. But then you've got the team that sit back. And watching the Tottenham team, you think, oh, that's Mourinho telling them to sit back and go on the counter. It doesn't seem to be that, judging from what the players are saying.
You've had Hugo say it. You've had Kane that's come out and say it, that it's not the gaffer that says this to us. Yep. So, look, I don't know, mate. We'll have to see. There's a massive game this weekend, which we'll get to on the previews and stuff. But it's all to be seen with Tottenham. I think we should move on to, the next subject now.
Painful, isn't it? It's painful. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go on to our fixtures this coming weekend. Move on from that. I'm suffering enough hurt, enough pain from discussing our beloved Tottenham pre. So let's let Turk have his smug day.
I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest with you. The amount of different views on Mourinho, the Tottenham team at the moment, the players, it just shows what a game football is, and it's great to have those views, guys. I don't feel sorry for you because I've been there, seen it, and done it. So yeah, long may it continue.
Onto the weekend's games. Piss off. So this coming weekend, if we can edge you over, I can see your face, lovely. This coming weekend, we have 3 Premier League fixtures. We have Brighton versus Newcastle. Now, normally I'd ask the opinion of our guys in regards to what you think of this game. This week, I've got a special guest. Erling Haaland, what do you think of this fixture, mate?
What a shit game.
Oh, good. Can we just hear that one more time? I just want to hear it one more time. Brighton, Newcastle, what do we think?
What a shit game.
Thank you, Erling.
Well, that sums that up. We move on to the next fixture. Can we play that video again for that fixture? Can we play that for the next fixture as well, please?
Big game there, 3 o'clock on a Sunday. We've got West Ham versus Arsenal. West Ham at home, Arsenal away.
Before I go into my thoughts on this, guys, obviously for you guys, this is a difficult game as well. Who do you guys want to win? Because it's 2 teams that you're in and around. West Ham obviously above at the moment. Arsenal just below. Arsenal big North London derby. West Ham the noisy neighbours, if you like. What's going on? What do you want to happen?
For me, there's no doubting I would love a West Ham win because with what's going on at Arsenal and Tottenham with the Europa League, I would hate for Arsenal to come from behind and get anywhere near Tottenham at the minute because we had a dramatic head start. They was up against it early season, West Ham, they've had a good steady season. I can see you having a couple of result slips potentially moving forward, but for me, I would wholeheartedly love West Ham to win this.
Interesting.
What about you, Pre?
I don't know. I think as a result, I think a draw would be a good result from a Tottenham point of view. But again, I'm looking up. I'll have to carry on saying that. I'm looking up, not looking down. And if Arsenal win, then there's, we win our game. We're ahead of, or we go in the same points or something like that as West Ham. So I don't know. I'll take a draw. I'd want a draw. But if anyone had to win that game, I'd have Arsenal win it rather than West Ham.
Well, look, to put it into perspective to you, if Arsenal win, they go 1 point below Spurs, having played the game more, with you guys playing, obviously, Villa. If West Ham win, we go 6 points above, with you guys having a game in hand, obviously, against Villa a few hours afterwards. So it's very tight down there, nevertheless. But for me, you mentioned it a minute ago. We lost to Man United last week. We just didn't turn up. We weren't good enough. Man U deserved to win. I think we got our tactics wrong. Can't moan because we've got pretty much most of the games right over the season. But this is a really big game for us because West Ham and Man City are the only teams in the Premier League that have never lost 2 games on a both this season. So for us, we've got to
never lost this season.
never lost 2 games on the bounce.
Never's a long time.
Well, listen, it's been over a long game, over however many games it's been, 28 games. We haven't lost 2 games back to back. So for me, I will take a draw because I think Arsenal are a decent size. I'm just giving you some facts here, Pre. I only work with facts, mate. But I'm well up for it, and I fancy it as well. We've got Lingard back, so I'm gonna go for a home win.
Cool. Yeah, I mean the home win there, 9-5. They had long odds there for West Ham on the form that they've. I mean, I know they had a ropey result against United, but I'd be looking at the home win there, 9-5. That's without a bias head on. Then we go on to Sunday's 7:30 game, Aston Villa versus Tottenham. I think this comes down to a crunch game, really, here. And I think it does. How's Grealish coming on for his injury? Because they're not the same team without him.
I think he's back this week.
I was just going to say, I think he's back. And you're right, it is a bit of a crunch game. Let's face it, Spurs are a better team than where they suggest. Let's not cross that wire. But Villa have last 2 or 3 games, they've slipped away because of the lack of Grealish's creativity in there. He's going to come back. It's a big game. Spurs have probably only got back to the UK maybe last night or whatever it might have been. They're not going to have a lot of time now. It's a shame that the fixtures come around that quick for them. But they've got a point to prove now. They've got a point to prove and wait and go into Villa Park and getting something. But that's a tough game. That's a tough place to go with or without Grealish. So I'm going to go for a home win anyway with that one.
Yeah, it's do or die really for me. I mean, if you go and get another negative result there and Arsenal win, then they're 1 point away. What do you think on that, Pre? What are your thoughts in regards to the Sunday 7:30 game, Villa versus Tottenham?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game to watch for the neutral. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that game. See how Tottenham react after the last 2 defeats. It could be a draw, but I don't see a draw happening in this game. I see either a win or a loss. I'm really expecting the quality at Spurs to actually shine through and take the away win in this game. Because in terms of travelling back, Spurs have been doing it for years now, mate. They're used to playing in Europe and playing on the following Sunday or Saturday, depending on which European tournament they're playing. And that the players are used to. But again, that has had an effect on the season. We've played the most games in Europe. Spurs have played the most football games in Europe.
I agree with that, and I get that. But when you're winning, you want to play every other day, right? But when you're not winning, and that game comes around that quick, you don't really want to get back at.
No, I disagree with you, mate. when you're losing, you want that next game to come as soon as possible because you want to get onto that next run. So we've had.
So what happened last week then when you played Zagreb on Thursday and lost to Arsenal on the Sunday?
Yeah, that's 2 games. We won 5 games on the trot before that. So we go to that same run again.
You won 5 games against the teams battling for relegation.
But those same teams, what were their results against other teams? Burnley went and broke Liverpool.
Who do you want to compare them to?
Hold on. I don't know. I'm not comparing it. I'm just saying to you, you're trying to say in the Premier League a game's an easy game. I don't know.
I'm trying to say that when you're 5 games.
You got Burnley that beat Liverpool, who no team had beaten them 65 games. I think Thomas was saying earlier on in the show. They went and beat them. They had a draw against Arsenal at home. Whatever, we smashed them at home. We beat Crystal Palace quite comfortably. Who did Palace draw with last week? I don't understand the point. You're expected. There's no games that you're expected to win.
The point I'm trying to make is against teams above you, apart from Manchester City, you've not had any positive results. You've lost to Chelsea, you've lost to West Ham, you've lost to Leicester. You beat Man United very comfortably, and Man City. But you lost to Everton. Okay, so out of the 7 teams that are ahead of you, you've only got a positive result out of 2. What I'm saying to you is, playing all those games is great, but when you're still playing Thursday and Sunday, it's going to have a knock-on effect. And I think that when you're losing, knock-on effect. When you're winning, you want to play every other day.
I think you're right, Pre, in one respect, in the fact that if you've got the right character and the right personality, you want to shove and kick that negative result out. But if you are, as expected, some of the Tottenham players that the characters are being questioned, if they are these sit on the bench type players that don't want to pull strings up and crack on, these are the ones that are going to duck their nut and not want to play in these games, which is why this fixture is so important. And we will really see the fibre of these players in this coming game because this is either you crack on and you rectify the past games or you let it fester in your mind. So I think you're both right.
The point you just made, Glenn, I think they've already shown us what fibre they're made up of, mate. They're like I said earlier on in the show, I think as a starting 11, I think we've got a really good starting 11. We just haven't got the rest of the squad at the moment that are where a club like Tottenham should be. But let's see where they are.
Song's a big miss as well, isn't he? Song's a big miss.
He's not been
such a good player.
Yeah, he is such a good player.
Mate. He's been off form over the last 10 games or so, but you can't expect to have the form that you had at the beginning of the season. You need other people to step up.
But again, it goes back to what we were talking about with the tactics. With Mourinho's, it goes back to that a little bit. I feel like he's had to accommodate Bow in the team. He's had to accommodate Kane dropping that a little bit deeper. The way that them two were working earlier in the season was amazing. But I don't feel like Song's been playing as directly up top. I feel like that the way that Mourinho plays, something's had to give, and I think that Song's had to be a little bit of a scapegoat for that a little bit.
Let's see how it plays out.
Maybe that's just me.
Been a bit of a salty episode. Great guest, love the guest. Don't love Tottenham at the minute, but let's see what happens. Amazing.
Well, it'll get better, guys. It'll get better. Don't worry.
Well, much appreciated, guys. Have a great weekend. Hope everyone enjoyed the episode. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Guys. Thank you.